of New Jack Swing podcast. I've got myself and Stevie Street. We are expecting our special guest, Mr. Walter Mucho Scott, and he'll be joining us shortly. So before that time, we're just going to be able to just lay the groundwork. So it's a few things that we're going to ask him, and one of the beautiful things about us doing this live is that you guys can ask questions to Mucho as well. But anyway, Stevie, how are you doing? I know yesterday when we did our podcast and went down our 20 top 10 favorite albums, you did say that you had a bout of man flu in summers.
In the words of the legendary Fela Kuti, I'm suffering and smiling.
Suffering and smiling.
But he suffered a lot more than what I did, so I can't complain really.
Hey Alex, how you doing? Yes, okay. Suffering and smiling, yeah. But it's oh yeah, Fela. Really loved Fela. He was essential listening when I was in secondary school. He was definitely essential listening. So we've got Alex, and he seems to be tuning in from from LinkedIn, where it's going live as well. Alex, we're definitely doing well. Alex has been he's a big fan of Doc Child, and I love some of the producers. He's always asking about unreleased stuff and demo stuff, and to ask if and Brian Alexander Morgan and stuff. So yeah, so it'd be interesting. Yeah. So we're doing well, Alex. So yeah, as I said, as we said earlier, Mucho will be joining us in about 10 minutes. He is, he was making his way from and he'll tell us what he's been up to. I know from the last time I got in touch with Mucho, looking at surprising us with some new stuff. So it'll be interesting to see what that is. But in the interim, Stevie. So some updates. So I shared yesterday that Aaron Hall has now rejoined Instagram. He's got himself a new profile, and he started posting pictures daily. So really getting into things. He probably just only has about 80 people who realize it's him and are following him. And I reached out to him to get an interview, and unfortunately. He wasn't finding it funny. He then had a post to say, "Look, I'm not doing any interviews right now."
So you've upset him already then.
He said he's not doing any interviews. He doesn't trust anybody but God. So that was really wow. I took it personal because I'm thinking, well, but how many people know that you're on Instagram, and I'm the only one who's pretty much reached out to ask for an interview. So yes, so that hasn't gone down well. But
well, I wouldn't take that to heart because of what happened with his last interview, which is still around on YouTube, which, judging by the comments, didn't go down too well, unfortunately.
Yeah, so if anyone hasn't seen it, if you search Aaron Hall interview, he did a major interview with Vlad TV probably 10 years ago or so. And in that interview, he was calling out Teddy, and he was calling out his I think his the mother of his child, and it really didn't go down well and didn't give him a good reputation. So I think but not only that, I think this is something that Damien had also mentioned when I interviewed him recently, was that sometimes they can trust you, do an interview, and then you could take bits of what they said out of context and make it go to try and go viral. And he was a victim of Damien was a victim of that about during lockdown. He had an interview with somebody, and I think they kept asking him about his favorite group. Damien's always a big fan of Guy. Said, "Look, Guy's the best. There's no one better." And I think they kept asking him. So, what about Blackstreet? They've done this, they've done that, and he said, "Look, forget Blackstreet. Guy. They can't. They can't live up to what we've done." So they took away all the things he said previously and built up, and how he just promotes Guy. And then they just took the part when he says, "Forget Blackstreet," and And then that was what they put out on Instagram. And then Teddy saw it and got upset, and the rest of Blackstreet saw it, and it just caused a big hoopla. So that was why Damon says, that's it. I trusted you people with an interview, and I'm not doing it again. So I can understand the areas of trust when it comes to doing these things, because people will try and go viral with stuff. So I think that's probably why Aaron has said at this moment in time he doesn't trust anybody, and he's not going to agree for me to interview him.
Well, I'd just like to say to anyone watching, maybe from Aaron Hall's camp, and I'm sure there will be, it's it's where platforms like this are coming from. We do it for the love. We're not here to stitch up artists. We're not here to make artists put them in a bad light. We're here to celebrate them. We want to keep them. What they can use this platform to keep the fans up to date. This is what it's here for. He doesn't have to. He doesn't owe anybody an interview. Doesn't have to do interviews, but the fans, the true fans that have stood the test of time with Aaron Hall and Guy and that whole family, we just like to hear from them every now and again. Just pop on, say hello. We're fans. We're lifelong fans. We're not, and we just appreciate seeing you, really hearing from you. And I'm sure you would as well, Nnamdi. You've done enough interviews now. You've not, everyone loves you because you've not tried to stitch anybody up. You've not tried to go use your platform to go viral or come up with any stupid headlines that's gonna make an artist look bad. You've not done that, But
yeah,
it's like I say, if anyone from Aaron Hall's camp's watching, we're just fans of the music, But life is too short. We don't know whether we're going to be here tomorrow or not. So keep us up. That's all we ask, really.
Yeah, no.
I'm not
music
interested, and I know you're not interested in Aaron Hall's girlfriends or or any stupidity surrounding it all. We're just here for the music, really.
Yeah, that is true, and so I can only, as I said, I can just only just give him time and stuff like that. So hopefully that I'll still reach out to him.
Can we mention? Are we allowed to mention other podcasts or?
Yeah.
I did watch. I've not watched any of the R&B Money podcast yet, and I did watch one today with Mr. Troop, Stephen Russell.
Okay.
I thought it was a superb podcast, and I didn't realize actually that Jay Valentine's on it. He's hosting it with, Tank's the main host. Jay Valentine backing up, and I didn't realize that. Check this out. Jay Valentine was a member of the Neutrons back in the early 90s, which they were like a teeny bop R&B New Jack Swing group. So I think we should reach out to Jay Valentine. Seriously, because I was like, whoa, he was in the Neutrons. Produced by Timmy Gatlin.
Oh.
And also Rookie Stewart. So there's a big connection there,
Okay. Yeah, I mean, for anyone joining right now, Mucho is running slightly late. He'll be joining us in a few minutes, so we'll jump onto them. Alex is saying, I would like to hear 112's demo version of "You Don't Have to Worry" by New Edition.
Well, we'd all like to hear that.
Yes.
See, I didn't know they did a demo of that. So thanks for telling us about that, Alex.
Yeah, for anyone who didn't know, Slim from 112 sang all the background for "You Don't Have to Worry." So he did. It was one. Well, it was mainly Slim who did the backgrounds because Puffy produced it with the Hitmen, and Slim was singing all the backgrounds for that. So I don't believe, Alex, they sang the whole album. I just believe that they were in the studio singing the backing vocals on that track. and the big gripe was the fact that he didn't get paid, and they didn't realize that they get residuals for doing background vocals, because they didn't know the business. So that was one of the things that he got into. Yes. So so that was Slim on 112. But yeah, it's and I'll shout out when it comes to other podcasts that I'm a big fan of Questlove, and I don't know if you ever listened to Questlove's his podcast, Questlove Supreme.
No, I've not listened to
that. He I mean, he's a heavy hitter, so he's able to get pretty much anyone he wants. But he's more into the music, the production. So he will go into what instruments they're using, the drum beats, because he's a producer as well. So he gets real technical, but he just goes into let anyone talk about anything. I think you got Soul is also another good podcast series that is out there as well.
Yeah, I really enjoy that. And them guys, you know what I mean? They don't do enough of them, but again, they're like us. They're just fans of music.
Yeah.
They're doing whatever they're doing between jobs, and you got to respect that. Again, they're just doing it for the love, really. You can just tell. I totally respect what they're doing. I'm just reading Alex's question. Alex, mate, have you got thousands of dollars that we can spend to give these guys to get their demos? Because they ain't giving them out for nothing, mate. Seriously.
Yeah. And some, especially someone like Rodney Jerkins, when it comes to his stuff, he's very protective of the legacy and relationship he has with his artists. So, I mean, I don't know much about how demos get leaked, because sometimes I see the guys from You Got Soul playing the demo versions of like Kevon Evans singing Michael Jackson's Heaven Can Wait. So it's almost as if he sang it first and then it didn't work out. But I've seen them push out a lot of the versions that another artist sang.
Well, during the mid-90s, when a lot of all that stuff was being recorded, and there was a lot of demos around, there was a certain circle of DJs in the UK that got access to those. There was probably money changed hands between collectors and people who were working in studios. So they do get out, and then those collectors probably trade with other collectors, and it's like a circle. I know all about it. I'm not going to go into it, but if you're one of those collectors who's probably watching this now, who's managed to get a certain amount of demos or some, you know what I mean? So I don't need to go into it. That's a whole nother podcast. It's happen. And this stuff gets leaked. But it's with social media, with YouTube now, these other collectors who I'm not sure you can trust them. They'll put them on YouTube, they'll upload them to YouTube. And they'll probably do that, and probably not without the artists or the songwriters' permission to do so. And that they're doing that to fish, to see if there's any other collectors out there that they can trade with and get money out of. So, but again, that's a whole other podcast.
Okay.
You got to be careful who who you trust, who you talk to, who you who you trade with. So, but they get out there, they do leak. So,
wow. The other thing that we yesterday we were thinking about producers, and what came to me is that we, instead of trying to talk negatively about any producer, I wondered if we could have a pyramid, and you have our A who would be who would be in category 1, who goes into category 2, category 3, and 4. So an example, case in point, could be Quincy Jones would be in category 1, maybe with Jimmy and Terry.
It's almost like you'd have a Premier League, then you'd have a Championships League.
Yeah, for those who, for football. So yes, so that's what I think that we
go on. What would it go on? The price it costs to get them to produce something. So
no, I mean, because
the status.
Yeah, because Quincy's not going to be producing anyone really right now, but he'll still
Well,
be
how much would it cost?
Quincy. But you think about, but no, I think it's actually about impact on the industry. Because we'll always put Quincy, and he'd be the godfather when it comes to production for R&B. Jimmy and Terry, I mean, since the 80s, consistently.
We could pretty much, we could pretty much do the Premier League, the top.
You could put a top 4 or 5 in there. Then who goes into B? Who goes into category B? Who are the ones that are in there? Then who are the ones that would go into C?
We'd have to plan that out,
Yeah, so that would be something that we can do in our next show.
Now.
Because it'll be interesting to see where does Devontae swing or Timberland's fit in? Where does people like Brian Alexander Morgan, Spider-Man and Freeze? So look at all these producers. How do R. Kelly? Where do they fit in? And so that would be.
It relate to their back catalogue. What they did with the hits. How many hits did they have?
Yeah.
The cost. How much did they charge? We're not privy to that really.
Well, yeah, no, but we know the impact. It's a lot of its impact on the scene and stuff. I mean, strangely enough, I rate Puffy as a producer back in the 90s because anything his name was on turned to gold.
I mean, you've just reminded me of something. Actually, I remember in the 90s where I'd hear a track that sounded like a Teddy Riley production, and we'd kind of go, "What do you think of that?" I'd go, "Well, that sounds like a Pound Shop Teddy Riley production." And that was the phrase we used. Like it sounds like a dollar like Teddy Riley production, because they just completely copied what Teddy Riley had done, but you knew it wasn't him that had done it.
Yeah, I mean, but to imagine if your sound is so popular, because I actually, after we spoke about Forever My Lady, which was on your top 10 albums, I listened to it today, and it was 2 different albums. I listened to the full album, and it was the slow songs, which were big in America. Then you had the New Jack Swing tracks, which were big in the UK and the rest of the world, and you could hear the whole New Jack influence on that second part of the album, which almost in a sense it reminded me a little bit of R. Kelly and Public Announcements type of what they were trying to do. She's got that vibe. Anything? Could you see the similarities with that type of let's be our own version of Guy kind of thing?
Yeah, a lot of that went on. I mean, I'm trying to think myself. I remember do you remember the UK group Cruise?
No.
Do you not remember the Cruise guys? Well, they released a couple of albums in the 90s, and their second album in particular, I just felt production-wise, they'd just been listening to R. Kelly. all the drum sounds were like from R. Kelly's drum sounds. In the slow jams, it was all kind of bump and grind sounding, but it sounded good. They got the sound off to a T. But I could have said, and no disrespect to him whatsoever, I could have said, well, it just sounds like a Pound Shop version of R. Kelly. If I was going to be really cruel, but I actually love what Cruise did. I really loved their sound.
Yeah,
the song I thought was very underrated.
Yeah, but then also think about H-Town. There's a part of me, that whole knocking boots, bumping grind. It felt like they realized actually, but fair enough. When I interviewed Shazam and GI, they did say, they were coming out with the boys. That was that's who they looked at. They were the same age group, and they realized
the boys from Motown.
Yeah. The You Got Me Going Crazy, and I.
Right. Yeah.
So they came out. They said they were about to come out at the same time, but the label held them off and says, no, we'll wait until you guys are about 16, because if we get you out at 14, 15, you're going after the kiddie market. And the sound was changing, because they came out trying to be like the boys and that whole poppy stuff and New Edition. But the sound, as they waited, and Luke says, no, just hold on a slight bit. Then R. Kelly came out with that type of stuff, and that's when they brought them out. And they were just 17.
Well, it's interesting because when I listened to H-Town Knocking the Boots, that the sound of that reminds me of, it takes me back to Zapp and Roger, the ballads they did on their albums in the 80s. But I'm getting a bit deep there, I suppose.
No, but they are heavily influenced by the Roger and Zapp, and they did mention that, and that's probably why they were heavily influenced by him. Let me give Mucho a buzz in to see where he's at. Yeah, it's but as I said, he's coming in. Let me but yeah, so it's the kind of stuff that I would say that, you know, a lot of people, I don't mind if you are influenced by somebody, but, you know, trying to be a version of them. Because if you think of someone like Joe, he wasn't trying to be R. Kelly. His music didn't sound like R. Kelly. So you wouldn't say he was a knockoff version of R. Kelly.
No.
But Avant, on the other hand.
Who, Avant?
Yes.
So you think he... Ooh.
No, has similarities to R. Kelly, more so than Joe does. You can't let me...
No, I see where you're coming from. I'll be honest, I never put the connection of Avant and R. Kelly. I never.
You never did.
I always saw Avant as just as Avant, you know.
Oh my goodness, no! He came out. I separated. I thought there was. I was like, oh, this is like R. Kelly. And
there's something. I was shocked that I heard in that Stephen Russell interview today, and I did not know this about Troop. Apparently, when they were about to release their first album, they got a call from the head guy at Atlantic Records saying about the name of the band. Said, we need, whatever your name of the band is now, we need a name for the band, and I need it now. He goes, why? He said, because this group from New York called Guy, I've just put an album out and you're called The Guy. They were called The Guy or The Guys. That's what they were called before Troop.
Wow.
And they literally had to change the name, come up with a name for the group there and then on the phone call. So so it'd go off to print for their album and everything. They were called The Guy, not Troop. And they all looked at one another and said, well, we're a troupe of dancers, so we might as well call ourselves Troop. And they just apparently all agreed on the spot, Troop. And that's where they got the name from. I don't know. You spoke to John, haven't you?
Yeah, John gives a different story
about that.
Yeah, John has a different story. John says that they were always called the acronym of Troop, and even this is when they were kids before they got signed. So they already had that. I don't know what the real acronym of Troop is, but he says that was their dance.
He mentions it I don't want to give it all away. He does mention it in the podcast.
Yeah, so John talks about the acronym being around, and
they were called Guy. According to Stephen Russell, they were called The Guy or The Guys before Troop, and that's what would have been on their first album. If Guy had not dropped that album, then they'd have come out and called themselves The Guy or The Guys.
And maybe it would have been The Guys, because that kind of makes sense. But
I was shocked. I was like, whoa! I was dumbfounded when I heard that.
Okay, yeah, no. So John doesn't. But you got to understand that. Yeah. So I mean, John doesn't go into that. But then again, I unless somebody volunteers that up, but on both times he's not mentioned. He's not mentioned that. But then they all have different roles in the group, because Steve was their main writer and their main guy and stuff. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I have to give it up to Tank, but it's different. He's got a studio. It's a very different type of vibe when you are sitting down in front of somebody.
Totally.
And then you are able to have a conversation. But then also he's a recording artist, and so they do have a different way of connecting with their guests, because I see how they're talking, and it's in a very different level, like peers talking to peers. So you've got to respect that. and you know, there's no hating. The more positive shows that are out there, the better. Because for far too long it was really dominated by hip hop. Because if you think about stations like Vlad or the Art of Dialogue, um, you know, even most of them are very much hip hop centered, and they get most of the airplay. And then occasionally, when they get an R&B person in, it's really to talk about the dirt and not really focus on the creative process of stuff. So when I've seen some of the guests, like when he's either Dalvin or so, he always look for the. They all seem to look for the controversy stuff. So it's good to be able to get things like that. And I know Albie Shaw's looking to do his own as well, coming out soon. But anyway, we have got a few seconds, and he's on. Okay.
Oh.
I'm waiting for him. I'm on. Yes, I'm on. Can't see you yet. See. Yeah. I can't see you. Yeah, I'm waiting for you. He says he's logging in and stuff. So, but it's straightforward, right? When you click on the link, it should just.
Well, it is a new studio.
What's the logging in for? Okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay, I think he was on the computer, so I've just. I think he was like on, like he's logged onto the computer, so he. Um, yeah, so hopefully he's going to click in soon. But yeah, I mean, guys, I'm going to ask guys if they have their favorite track from Basic Black and or 911. I mean, for you, Steve. Okay, here he is.
Trying to see. Okay, now I got it. Everything.
How's it going?
Pretty good, man. Sorry, I'm late.
Yeah, no.
Better late than never.
Yeah.
definitely.
What's going on?
Yeah, man, it's really good to see you after all this time. It's been a while.
Oh yeah, you too. You too.
Yeah. No, we'll make you the main star here. This my guy Stevie Street. Stevie, here's
What's going on, Steve? I know Stevie is.
I do recall speaking to you many years ago.
Yeah, and I've been following you ever since then. Yeah, I'm familiar with you.
I'm hanging in there. I'm hanging in.
Yeah.
New Jack Swing. It keeps. I kind of take a break from it every while again, and then it sucks me back in. You know.
Yeah.
Can't really escape it. Really.
It came back around.
Yeah.
So what have you been up to? It's been a while.
Just working, man. You know, we were working on the 911 project, but everybody is just spaced out. You know, Marcus Vance, he down in Florida. I'm in Georgia, and Rob be something everywhere. Rob travel a lot.
Yeah, I see.
Vocal coach and everybody.
Yeah, I mean, he's with Rihanna 1 minute. He's with Dave Matthews, so he seems like.
Oh, yeah. Be with some everybody.
Oh, okay. Now, because I mean, and I think that you were caught in the middle because at one point you were looking at doing blackmail. Yeah.
And we was in different parts of the USA. You know, in the US, one of the singles was out in Vegas, and you know, me and Marco was still on this side, and actually, I had one of my it was like a little close friend. He was like my nephew. He was in the group. He was married to my niece, and I've been happy knowing him probably about 20 years. So you know, he messed around and got COVID and died.
Oh Lord.
Yeah. So that threw a wrench in it. So that threw that blackmail project back a while.
Wow. So I mean, so what are you still in the studio making music, or how, or what are you just putting music on hold, or?
No, I'm I probably been in a wheelchair doing music. I don't think I can give that up. You know, I sit down and think about it sometime, and I'm like, nah. So you know, I'm still at it.
Yeah, I mean, what's the aim though? I mean, I'm because you know, my head keeps going through different ideas. But what's your? I mean, are you looking to go on the road, or are you just looking to put up music or
Oh
projects?
no,
Or
I wanna do a project strictly for the you know, for the UK and you know and Japan. I want to do a New Jack Swing project, basically. So you know, they might not accept it too much over here, but we quite sure y'all, you know, overseas may accept it.
so,
And
and the reason I'm asking this is because there's so much you can look to do. I mean, and this is where it comes to whether it's part of you're doing this out of love of just doing the music, and so it's like, you know, connected with, you know, getting Tammy to do a track and then getting our Kill to rap on it, getting some new artists, you know, getting some other artists who, you know, who did some dabbled in New Jack, and saying, okay, yep, I've produced the music, you guys lay your vocals, and let's just try and make something out of it. I mean, so that's why I'm just.
yeah, well, you know, pretty much you can do an album like that when people in different places. You know, Rob got a laptop. You know, Marcus got a laptop, and you know, access to the studio. So I could send them the tracks, and they cut the vocals and send them back, and I mix them, and that's pretty much the idea I had. You know, I already had A+ on the joint with us. I was gonna get Nutter Butter, Mark Kell, Riley already committed to one, and I was trying to look up Queen Pen. I didn't couldn't find her on social media nowhere.
You know, she
And
is on social media, but I think she had a stroke, so she is on social media, but I don't think she's. I think she had a stroke a
oh
year ago, but she is on. I'll send you her profile on social media. So
yeah, do that. I hope she's doing well.
yeah,
And
okay.
yeah, Rob already committed to the 911 project. And you know, we even collab with Basic Black on a joint or two too. So it was going. I you know, I'm still trying to finish it before probably before the fall. You know, just everybody been in different places. Plus, everybody got families now. But yeah, I still want to do that. But and the music is pretty much finished.
Oh,
Yeah, just got to get the vocals on it, and you know, that's the hard part.
but then what would it be called? Would it be Mucho Scott Presents?
No, it'd be 911.
Oh, so
Maybe
it's.
you know 911 because all three members were original members. You know,
I just sent you Queen Pin. That was probably what you need.
okay,
Yeah.
and Rob Marcus Vance Slim, he actually took Rob place. You know, when Rob had a solo commitment. So you know, everybody that's in 911 was actually three of the original members. You know, besides Diesel. So you know, it wouldn't be like we adding another member to the group. It still would be three of original members.
And I'm sure Steve will come in soon, but just thinking about 911, just for those of us who were still upset that you had an amazing album that just never got released. Did when I know the first, because I remember when we interviewed and you mentioned that at first you had was it Cutie was the first, was that your very first
Cutie,
single, Cutie,
yeah,
that
yeah,
was on Ripping Records?
yeah.
And then when Teddy heard it, was that when Blackstreet were out in Germany? They heard it, and then he said, "Oh, you did this. They bought you out of your contract."
Teddy went to the DJ and asked who it was. So I was I was I was signed. Actually, I was already signed to Teddy. So you know, Teddy, you know, he was doing Blackstreet. I asked him about a group, and you know, he kept blowing me off. So you know, I kept flying home to Atlanta and working on the 911 project with Diesel and Rob. And you know, Rob, Rob was assigned to Rip It Records originally.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, he sent it to Rip It. You know, they went crazy over it. Pressed it, put it out overseas. Teddy heard it. Asked the DJ who was it, and they like it's a group called 911, and he knew who it was then. And then when he came home, you know, he sat down with us. I want to sign y'all, and he met with Rip It and bought Rip It out. And then Gene Griffin showed up with some old paperwork. And, you know, Teddy didn't want to deal with him, so he paid him off to get him out the way.
Oh, but how did he? What did he still have you signed to him, or what was the deal?
What? No, you know, Teddy didn't want to deal with him, so you know, no, he didn't want the headache. You know, they considered Gene a gangster, but I was like, don't pay him. I wouldn't pay him nothing. I was like, we out of those contracts. And Teddy like, no, I don't want the headache. You know, paid him off, and you know, he hung around for a little while, but he got out the way. So you know, he was trying to give us ideas, and we would ignore him. So he, you know, he got lost eventually. He disappeared.
Was that the last time you saw him?
Yeah. No. I think after I moved back to Georgia, he had a few rap artists that he used to bring by the studio, and I actually did a remix for him. I don't know what he did to it. You know, he's like, I'm gonna pay you for it. Or, you know, he shot me $800. After that, I didn't see him no more. So I was like, yeah, I got burnt. That'll be my last time getting burnt by him.
No, it's Stevie. Any about because you were talking yesterday about Basic Black and 911, the album.
Well, I have got a little story that goes back to 1996 when I first went to the States. I went with two guys who were running like a UK R&B label, an independent one, and they were just shopping for business. Really, they had tracks. They were looking for remix work. They wanted to sign stuff to their label for to put out in the UK, but we ended up visiting Repeat Records in Miami,
down in Orlando.
Yes, and they went into the office with Louis Bell, and I was there for the ride. One of them was my best friend. So I was sat at the back in the office. Louis Bell sat there. They were talking business. And then Louis said something to me. He went, "Who are you?" And I just said, "Oh, I'm just a fan of Aaron." And I asked him straight up. I said, "What's going on with 911?" This was 1996. And he went, "They've just left the label." I said to him, Did they record? Did they record an album for you guys? And he virtually said, "Well, they've just left. They've got a deal with Interscope. They're taking a whole bunch of tracks with us." And at the time, this was after Rab's first album, because we played Louis Bell some tracks that you know we were trying to get deals for in America, and it was on tape. So no, it was on a CD. We played him these tracks. They were like UK R&B tracks with like American style production on them. And then Louis Bell just went, "Hold on a minute, guys. Listen to this." He puts his tape in. We played him CD quality stuff, right? He puts his tape in the machine. He goes, here's some tracks from Rab's second album, which obviously never came out.
Yeah.
His tape blew away. You know, sound wise, production, volume, he just blew away our stuff, blew it out of the water. Those Rab tracks never came out.
You know who did that Rab second album?
Did you work on those Rab tracks?
All those were my tracks. Yeah. And the thing is, I want to redo them. I mean, even one of the songs got diesel background vocals on them. And I want to redo them. And Rob like, I think we could do something better. I was like, man, but I know we can too, but we need to do New Jack. And so, yeah, Rob, Rob don't like the headaches. You know, like hearing, well, those tracks I belong to, you know, masters belong to me, so y'all can't do them. And you know, I mean, that shouldn't come up, but Rob just tried to steer away from a lot of back and forth headache and stuff like that. But I got access to I think like 9 of those. I think it was about 9 on that deck, and I have access to all of them. And I start redoing like 3 or 4 of them, especially the one with Diesel vocals on it. So I'm still trying to twist his arm to get him to do them, man. But I love those songs.
I mean, in terms of the 911 album, the collectors back then, the stuff that there was tracks that leaked into the UK in the mid 90s before 96. The Rip It stuff, those Rip It album tracks.
Yeah,
a few DJs here got them and were playing them on the radio. And I always tell people that there is a Rip It version of the 911 album, and there is an Interscope version of the 911 album. Can you put that to bed? Is that true, or from what you know, is there 2 different versions of that album?
No, not really. Probably 2 or 3 missing songs that was misplaced due to the way we recorded back in the day on ADAT and Tascam. So and then we went through 2 different managers. So
well, the sampler, like I've got about half a dozen tracks from the Rip It era, and they sound different.
911 tracks, you mean?
Yes, they sound different to
the one that was leaked.
We've heard that's come out, and then
Well, I'm pretty much you could tell if it was my sound or not. So if they sound a lot different, they probably. I know he had some people in Orlando was submitting songs for the 911 project before we left Rip It.
Maybe it's not product. Maybe it's just a mix, like you say. Maybe it's just a mix, and the mastering was different.
It was just 2 songs that was different from the Rip It era and the Interscope. It's probably missing 2 songs.
I see.
Mm-hmm. And they wasn't finished anyway. So, but the one that's on the Interscope label, that's pretty much the full 911 project. And back to the 911 project, man, I had reached out to Timmy Gatlin via social media. He hit me back. He was like, sure. But, it was too long in between response. Like I would eat, like I said, okay, send me your email address. And
what did you want him to do?
Man, Timmy part of the New Jack era too. So
did you want him to sing or to write or?
No, we was gonna write it. If he wanted to write it, it was cool with us. But we was gonna send him a finished song, and we wanted that voice on it because that's Timmy's voice was part of that first that New Jack project, that Guy album, and that he played a major part in it, and a lot of people don't know it. Right, that You Can Call Me Crazy joint, that's one of my favorite songs.
Okay.
Timmy started the yep. Well, we ain't gonna get into that.
Did you know what? So when I interviewed Spec, he brought it up, and I was like, "What are you talking about? Hey, how did Timmy introduce yep?" Then I listened to Spend the Night.
Yeah.
And it says, and then Aaron says, "Hey, Donna, here's Timmy." And then he says, and this is Timmy. Yep. I'm like, what? So Timmy says,
and Teddy said, this is Donna. Donna, meet Teddy. Yo, Tim. Yep. That was Timmy. Yeah. See, but you can't blame Teddy for that because Timmy was at the group, and when people, first met Guy, they walk up to him and say, yep. You're not gonna say, no, that wasn't me. That was Timmy. That wasn't me. No, you gonna run with it. I probably would have ran with it too. They walk up to me after a hit album and say, yep, and I go, yep. I go back.
Yeah.
So
the trademark. Okay. No,
yeah.
I do wonder. I mean, Timmy, I don't know if you saw the second interview I did with him just a month ago or so. And he's I mean, I wonder if he's still. I mean, I think he's. Yeah, I wonder if he's still up for singing. What about Corel?
Pharrell?
No, Corell Henderson from New Kids Kids at Work.
Kids at Work. I didn't meet him. We moved to New York, and we moved to New York in the beginning of the first Guy album. Like after they released it, we moved to New York then, like 88, 89. So I think Kids at Work was through. So I didn't meet anybody from that group besides Teddy.
Okay.
You know?
Okay.
I've got a whole bunch of questions here. A whole bunch.
Go ahead.
If you can dispel any of these, did you do any work on Zan's album?
Zan? Oh yeah, I worked with Zan a lot. When we moved to New York, we was Zan was in the studio, and we were submitting, stuff through Gene via cassette, and Zan heard some stuff. He was crazy about it. He penned it and everything, and went in the studio. But you know how the credit was gonna go.
So I always wondered from me again. We've not heard Zan's story. I'm sure he's got a story to tell. He seems to have disappeared.
Zan is out in New Jersey. He's a hard guy to get in touch with. He called me back once or twice, but I think
he's so unsung. He's an unsung part of this new Jack story. I think.
Real talented. I wouldn't mind redoing a few of his cuts, man. Zan was dope. When we first moved to Atlanta, we was under Zan tutelage. Him and this guy named Timmy Arthur.
That's interesting.
Zan and this guy named Artie, Timmy Arthur. So we learned a lot from those two guys. It was kind of like veterans to us.
Wow.
We recently had Idris on from
Idris Muhammad.
Idris.
Yeah.
He told us a story. I don't know if you know about this or was part of this. He told us that Aaron Hall and Diesel
were cousins.
Yeah, and they did a track together. And
they did a group together back in the day. It was
Diesel,
Aaron, and Dinky Bingham.
Produced by you or Timmy Arthur. Do you know anything about that?
I think did we work with Aaron? I think we did something like in the rehearsal hall. It's a SR rehearsal. It was kind of a muddy recording, but it was done in a live field in a rehearsal hall. And I don't know what happened with that. But Aaron and Diesel were cousins. It was a group with Aaron, Diesel, and Dinky Bingham. I don't know if you remember Dinky Bingham?
From Jamaica Boys, right?
Yeah. So those three tones together, man. So
did they record tracks with them though, as that group?
Oh yeah.
Wow. And where are they? Do they still exist, these tracks?
I doubt it. They was done on cassette. You talking about 88, 89, recording through a mixing rehearsal mixing board, and the engineer recording it. So I doubt if you'll find that one. That's one I know I doubt you'll probably find.
I've been talking to an artist that was signed to Motown. She recorded 2 albums, but one for Motown. We try to get her on this podcast to do an interview. Letitia. Now, your credit is working with her on a Motown album. You did a track called Dance Floor. Do you remember that record?
Yeah, I remember everything. I worked with Letitia Guzman, right?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, we still speak, when we see each other on social media every now. Yeah, I remember working with Letitia.
I mean, Dance Floor sounds like a basic black track to me.
Yeah, it was. I think me and Timmy Arthur did Dance Floor. It would have been more New Jack Swing, but Gene came in and pulled down a few faders. Then
it's a good enough New Jack Swing track.
Yeah. It was a New Jack Swing track. But
she worked with a lot of different producers. I'm just wondering how she ended up working with you and Gene, and that. How did that actually happen?
She Gene met her. Gene brought her, to the camp, introduced her, and he said, "This, this is who I want you to work with."
And so that happened. Was it the same as Pretty? Because you worked with Pretty in Pink as well, didn't you?
Yeah, Gene had that Motown connection. So him and the head, who was the head of Motown back then?
Gerald Busby.
Gerald Busby. Him and Gerald Busby were real close. So Gerald would call Gene and say, "Yo, I got a new artist that need a mix. I'm gonna send him to Atlanta, and send him to Atlanta." And Gene said, "Cool." So he called me on the phone like, "Yo, we got to be in the studio, whatever day, Tuesday, Wednesday. Got a group coming down with Shaka Khan daughter in it, called Pretty in Pink, and we gonna work on her." And I was like, "Cool." So,
She's still going. I can on IG. She's actually still making music.
Which one? Shaka Khan?
Yeah, yeah. She's still on. I'll send you her IG.
Okay.
She actually put out a single 2 weeks ago. It's nice,
Yeah. She probably wouldn't remember me. They was like teenagers. So
wow. She will. I'm sure she will.
Yeah, I heard one of the girls is a big time movie writer and actress. I looked them up, and one of them doing good, in Hollywood.
Yeah.
I mean, when we spoke to Idris, and because I love the Arb album, and again, you're credited all over that album, and he was probably because of what he went through, he was quite dismissive of the album. I mean, the big thing for me was the mix and mastering. When I listen to that album now, it doesn't sound like it was mastered properly.
It probably was. Everybody, like pretty much everybody in the Atlanta rap band, everybody was solo artists. So Gene wanted to compress everything. I'm gonna put Artie and Deidre and Idris in a group together. I'm gonna call it the Atlanta Rap Band. So that was Gene's idea to put them all together. But they all were 3 solo artists.
I mean, when you look back to all them, because I know you made a lot of records after that New Jack period. When you look to the New Jack period specifically, was that you? Was you still learning then, or are you still proud of those records, or are you quite dismissive of them? Because
no, I pull them up on iTunes today.
Wow.
I'm proud of
that's good.
All my work.
Good
so, it's nothing that I would skip over if I heard it come on the on the radio or something. But
even the My Love remix.
Yeah.
For
Mary J.
Black, for Mary J.
Yeah.
Yeah. Y'all already know that. And see, but they had a system like Teddy would like say, you don't know what credit is going on the album, and so when it come out and you read the fine print, you're like, whoa, my name is not on here. It's just like the Queen Latifah remix, and I said, yo, my name is not on here. He like, oh, yeah, I think Donna. He had a sister named Donna, not his wife at the time. Donna put the wrong info on there. She made a mistake. So every time it was, somebody put the wrong info, I went to him about the Queen Latifah Just Another Day remix. And
you did that one.
And I don't know if my name on the LL Cool J either. So
which one?
Stand By Your Man.
Oh, with Tammy.
Yeah.
Oh, so that was you.
Yeah.
Wow.
So after that, I just got tired of going after it, man. It was
I'm going to try and dig here and fish for maybe stuff that we don't know at all that was going on at the time. There was an interview that I watched with, the producer Carl Solo, who did a lot of stuff with Jermaine Dupri. He said back then he was signed to Teddy Riley in the late 80s, early 90s. Teddy wanted to sign him. Do you know it? Did you have any dealings with Carl Solo or know anything about that signing going on?
No, I did not. I didn't have. I'm not familiar who that is.
I'm just thinking, was there any other artists or groups that were put together that you knew about that just didn't happen around that were New Jack Swing based, that, you know, that never really came out, that you might have worked on or you seen that was being worked on?
I think
he's frozen us.
Yeah, Mucho was frozen, but I'm sure he'll come back.
Maybe that's the question he doesn't want to answer.
no, Mucho, but yeah. So, you know, while we wait for him to come on back, but yeah, I mean, because I know Tam. Yeah, I didn't realize that he did the Stand By Your Man featuring Tammy on that. But there were sometimes that they'll put Mucho mix in some of the stuff he does. But I knew that it makes sense because I remember when there's an extended version of My Love by Mary that has the vocoder pretty much going throughout the whole thing. Mm-hmm. And I thought, wow, that was Teddy, and then I actually sent it to Teddy. Said, well, I really love this track. And he didn't respond. I'm thinking that's not normally like Teddy, because normally when you put stuff like that, he reshares it, but he didn't with this. And then then Mucho did say, yeah, no, because that was Mucho that was doing the vocoder on that particular track, and yeah, it's actually So I'll wait for him to get back and stuff, and then find out about.
I'm just looking at some of the questions that have come in from. Is it Miss Phil Day who said, who is Zan? Zan signed, he made an album for Warner Brothers around 1990, Warner Swing Beat album, which is well worth checking out. And he produced other artists as well. He did stuff for Today. He wrote for Basic Black.
Yeah,
he's a kind of part of New Jack Swing. You know, he's well worth checking out, discovering.
Do you know on one of his tracks that he on his album? That's the basis of Something in Common with Bobby Brown. So Teddy produced that track based on the track that he and Zan did. I think it was called "I Want to Be Your Man" or something like that.
Want to be with you. It was.
I want to be with you. So if you listen to that, that is pretty much Something in Common by Zan. But also, Phil, if you do listen to the New Jack Swing when Teddy does, I've got Q Sweat, Redhead, Zan, and then and Zanderman. So Zan's in that video. So he was part of the New Jack Swing. In a way, it almost reminds me of a Carl Thomas of Bad Boy Records kind of thing.
Yeah.
But also, well, actually, or Mario, because he was a producer and singer. Where Mucho is, because he was did you know about the Timmy Yep Yep?
No.
Okay, his phone he's logging back in now. Yeah, so when they told me that, you guys, if you go listen to Spend the Night on the Guy Debut album, when Aaron introduces Timmy to this mystery girl called Donna, the Yep Yep is done by, this is Timmy, and Timmy's the one that does the Yep Yep on the track.
Yep. Does it sound like Timmy to you though? I thought it's Teddy that said it, but
because and actually Timmy. So if you listen even to the interview I did with Timmy says that actually that there was a girl, that Donna, that Teddy really was after, and they said, let's write a song because you need to have something, you need to sing, and Teddy didn't want to, and he said, let's sing about this girl Donna that you really like. So the song was sort of a way for him to ask her out, kind of thing, and so they all, and I didn't ask Timmy by it because I completely forgot about it, and then we just brought it up. But it was Timmy that did Okay, he's coming back in. It was Timmy that that did say the yep yep.
Am I back?
You're back.
Yeah, this sorry iPhone blacked out and said overheated. So
Okay, it isn't working.
man, sorry about that.
No, no. I think a big question I had is for those of us who were, and I just listened to the Pressure album, which I guess you guys didn't officially release it. You guys didn't have anything to do with it being sold in Asia and Japan and Korea.
No.
No. Were you disappointed with the fact that it got leaked and the quality of what was put out, or were you happy that at least people got to know what you guys could have done? What was your thought?
I'm happy. I mean, people were interested in it. I didn't know it was that well liked in Japan and other places. So, and man, I dream of coming somewhere over there, like performing. The Pressure, Cutie, in a magazine. Man, I want to perform those 911 songs so bad. So, that's why I I be pestering Rob and Slim. They probably get tired of me, and but they want, they want to do it too. So, hopefully one day we'll finish before the year out. Hopefully.
Yeah, there was one track. Oh goodness, I'm not going to remember what it is. That reminded me of Your Love that you had on the Finally album. That was on, but it had and I actually used it in a promo, and I can't remember what it is. They had somebody rapping on the Pressure album. Do you remember that track?
Was that Chance?
Which one? Chance to Rap. Which one was Chance?
No, no. It was. I'm gonna play it now because that was one of my.
Can't Get Enough. Is Your Love? Is it Can't Get Enough? Your Love, Can't Get Enough.
Yeah. Was it. Did you was that an inspiration for Your Love for on the Finally album with Sauce Money?
No, me and Diesel didn't know what to name it. Like, Can't Get Enough or Your Love. So Diesel just said, man, just say Your Love. And what happened was, when we was doing the we did most of the 911 album in Virginia Beach. And I'm looking at some messages come across.
Yeah, yeah. Go ahead.
And so Teddy actually gave us the studio. He went to Trinidad to record Guy 3. So, they went over there to record. Then he came back for the holidays, and he was like, "How many songs y'all got?" Y'all got about 3. we were like, "No, we got 9." He was like, "No way." So he heard the album. He was like, "Wow." So he went back to Trinidad and came back. And still no mention of getting a release date from Interscope. So me and Diesel went back to Atlanta. So Teddy said, "Okay, Interscope said they need one more up tempo." So we were like, "Cool." And at that time we was mad at Teddy. So the manager was speaking to him. So the manager said, "Man, Teddy said, the reason why that they're not gonna release it, so they need one more up tempo." I said, "Okay, cool." So me and Diesel went in the studio. We did Your Love in one night. Can't Get Enough. Sent it to him, and he was like, "Wow." He was like, so. After that, no more excuses. We didn't hear nothing else, and that was it. So we actually did that song. And, that was the add to song that he said we needed one more up tempo.
Wow. Did you ever find out why they didn't release? Why did Interscope hear your album?
Interscope wanted to release it. Everything was on Teddy. Teddy was telling folks like, and he told me that too. He was like, "Man, it's just like y'all competition for Guy, and that would kind of take from us." I like, dude. I said, "But we own Life of Riley Records. So we on your label though. So how would that be competition when we on your label And Guy was on another label, and I don't think he understood it, but he told me like, and I didn't believe it till he actually told me, like, man, it just, it's 3 of y'all, it'll be just competition for Guy. He do a little soft spoken on you, then like man, it just would be competition for us. And I like, dude, I said, but we on your label. So, how's that competition?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think.
So was it Teddy Riley's decision to release the album, or was it Interscope's decision?
No, it was Teddy's.
Right. Okay. Well, there's your answer, Nnamdi. That's your answer right there.
He did the hip hop mix of Stand By Man. He is credited. Okay.
Yeah, I didn't know they gave me credit for that. They probably put me on a different mix though.
Okay.
But not the main one.
Not the main one. But the thing is that when I listened to the Pressure album, it didn't sound like Guy, nor did it sound like Blackstreet. It sounded different.
Like 911.
Yeah. So I don't know, because you can't stop, because you had Intro, you had Silk, you had all these other groups that are out there, Dru Hill and stuff. So there was space. Yeah, Porter. So you had space. So and back in those days, the only way I heard about you guys were definitely through the internet forums about 911 in a magazine. I think it was in a magazine that we saw, that we realized that you guys were coming out of Teddy's camp, and so everyone was looking forward the same way we're looking forward to Tammy.
Yeah, Teddy.
The story of the 90s R&B is, for as much 90s R&B that actually came out, there was as much that never came out.
Yeah, it's a lot of
There's so much that never came out.
Teddy he did what he was taught. I don't think he was too business minded, but like Interscope gave him the option to do 3 acts per year. And Neptunes had a project, Tammy had a project, Micah Etheridge had a project, Nutter Butter had a project, Chance had a project, Knowledge had a project.
Wow.
And so it was lined up to do 3 acts per year. So I know it was supposed to be Neptunes, Knowledge, and 911 for the first year. Then you had Chance, you had Twan. Twan would call himself. They was all called themselves the Pirate, but Twan, he played on the first Sunday movie as the Jamaican guy. I don't know if you remember that movie with Cat Williams and Ice Cube, but Twan was the Jamaican guy and hellified rapper, man. His album was gonna come out on the second year. It was gonna be Chance, Twan, and I think Tammy was gonna be on the first one. Tammy, 911, and the Neptune. It's supposed to be that for the first 3 release on Interscope through Life of Riley Records. Then Nutter Butter, Twan, and Knowledge. And Nutter Butter, Twan, and Chance. And then Knowledge, Nutter Butter, and Chance. And then Twan came last. So Twan's gonna be in that 3rd round.
But what we actually got from that label was David Miller. We got a David Miller single. We got a Nutter Butter single, and I think that was it.
He dissect everybody's album and then put all the artists on Blackstreet. Twan is on Blackstreet, Knowledge on Blackstreet, Chance is on Blackstreet. And then he took a few of our albums and put them on Guy. So, and that's what he ended up doing. He turned it to a surgeon and dissected everybody, project.
But how did Nutter Butter? Not David Miller. How did he just come up?
Nutter Butter?
No, David Miller. Why because he released him? That was.
That probably was the time I got mad and went back to Georgia and didn't want to hear nothing from Virginia Beach. Okay. So was he a kid?
Yeah, it was a kid.
Yeah, I think I remember who you're talking about. Yeah,
and
Teddy, once you get in Teddy ear, you sell him a good pitch. He'll go with it. So
I mean,
somebody
unless
got
he
it.
was looking at Usher and Chris Brown and thought, oh yeah, we need to get a kid out. But
Yeah,
it wasn't a great production. In fact, it reminded me of Take Me There on the Rugrats. It was that
yeah.
type of that. It just wasn't what was happening on the on the radio.
Well,
It
to be
just
fair, that single, it had a big sample in it. Da, 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 da.
yeah, but
Oh,
it
okay.
yeah,
Yeah.
but it wasn't a strong. It was. I mean,
It was very of its time. It was very mid-90s hip-hop
Yeah.
soul sound.
Well, and
yeah.
then again, if Teddy don't hear what he like, he get mad at you. So if he like Yes Man, so if you tell him the truth, like if he say it's right this way, but you tell him no that way, and he would take he couldn't take constructive criticism. So and then
Yeah, I know
plus
that. I know
if you tell him
Sprog
the
said
truth,
that you and him would would butt heads quite a bit.
yeah.
So.
See, but I told him like he get mad at me, and he said get out the studio. I said cool, I got a studio in Atlanta, so me and my manager would go back to Atlanta and work, and then he ended up calling me and back. He got mad at me one time. Him and Chauncey fell out, and me and Chauncey were roommates, so he didn't. Why you still talking to him? He like, I said, man, I can't fight everybody you want to pick a fight with. I was like, we roommates. What you want me to do? Go out the back door?
I mean, let's put this whole thing into perspective, though. You're giving basically a producer a label. So basically, then Teddy's got all this stuff that he's part of, that he's signed, he's produced. He's then got to make business decisions about what comes out and what doesn't. Maybe that wasn't for him.
Yeah,
maybe it wasn't to be taken personally. Maybe he just didn't know what to put out.
Yeah, that's what I said. He was just practicing what he was taught. Gene wasn't doing business the right way, so Teddy was only doing what he learned from Gene. He thought that was the right way. So,
I mean, if
you
you
think
pretty
pressure, a lot of pressure for somebody. That
but the only people, I mean, the only person who did have a successful label was LaFace, and that's because L.A. Reid stopped producing and focused on the business side.
Turned into a
Jimmy and
business
Terry
man,
had Perspective Records that had good music, but it commercially wasn't successful, and and that got closed by A&M. R. Kelly had Rocklands, but he didn't. He only had Sparkle, and he did the soundtrack to Life. Devante didn't have, had Swing Mob, but he couldn't really put out stuff. Timbaland had his label out, but he just didn't.
Listen, that was the classic way for these big guys at the majors, was to get even more money out of the artist, was to give them a label, because they're taking more money back. Then
but very few of them managed to.
The label pretty much wanted everything that if you were hot, then the label will say, okay, what else you got?
He must have lost a fortune. He must have been leaking money left, right, and that's probably why it didn't come out. He was leaking production money left, right, and center.
Yeah, but he still had finished projects, because we weren't getting no big budgets back in the day. He was like this much going to the studio time. Everything was done in house. So we get a bill. $300,000 of your budget is for studio time, but the project was finished. So and then plus Teddy into the industry as a kid. So you get in the industry as a kid, and 100 miles an hour already. You ain't gonna have time to stop and learn the ins and outs. And back then everybody wanted you to read that big book. Everything you want to know about the music industry. You throw that in front of a 16-year-old kid, he ain't gonna read it.
In the 90s, though, these labels, they were cutting big checks for people. It's not like today. They were cutting huge checks. Thousands of dollars for
Teddy's starting price were every group got $500,000 budget. So Interscope would cut him a 1.5, which was big money back in the day. $1.5 million check for 3 acts. Every year he could have got a check for $1.5 million. And he could have, the 3 acts Teddy could have put out at least 6 or 7 acts a year, and I think that was a small price that Interscope was asking from him, and he had the talent around him to put him out too. So if he had any business mind, man, I would have had 3 albums finished. But if we started in January, 3 would have been finished in March 1st. Let's get a release date on all 3 of them. Then
I mean, I can understand your frustration because you just wanted the stuff you worked on, you wanted to see it come out.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas he's on the other side going, can I actually release this? Have I got the money to do it? Will it hit? It's a balancing act. It really is, but your frustration.
Well, he wasn't worried about if it hit or not, because a lot of the singers that came out that was released through Virginia Beach, the Life of Rider records, it was like a collab. He would play them for people, and one got the most votes. That's the one he go with. So,
the question I had was, goodness, it has escaped me. I had it right here, and it just left.
You lost your train of thought.
Yeah, I completely lost it. No, yeah, it's not going to come back.
Was it 911, Basic Black, Guy?
Okay. Did you work with Mona Lisa? She signed to Island Records. Do you remember?
No, I did not work with Mona Lisa.
Oh yes.
Okay. That dispels one myth then.
It was with
A. Marie though.
A. Marie, I did.
What did you do? Is that Work It?
That was through Teddy. And the one we did was supposed to be the single, but then she did one with Lil Wayne, and they're like, "We gonna try the Lil Wayne one first," and man, I think that's what that was cancel culture. Because Lil Wayne don't work for everybody, but the joint we had on them, man, they was doing. If you look up the one me and Teddy did for A. Marie. They was doing video choreography for that song. Like this the first single, we doing the video prep for it. And man, then when I saw that, I was like, okay, we got the first single. Then they changed it.
Wow. Yeah. No, that was
it's on the Art of War album. The track's called Tell Me You Love Me.
Yeah.
Tell Me You Love Me. Yeah.
You work with Case as well, I do believe.
Yeah, work with Case.
I remember what I was trying to ask. Tell me, Joseph Stonestreet. Very little is said about him. Did you get to work with Stonestreet?
I worked with Joe Stonestreet a lot. Me and him and Levi was cutting songs at the first house they had. I mean, Joe was a beast, man. He like one of the few guys that I seen go in the studio. Like his first take is gonna be the best one, and he's gonna do it all the way through. Just let the tape run.
When you think about all the singers you've worked with, where would you place him?
Ooh, he'll be at the top with Diesel, because Diesel placed him at the top.
Okay.
It wasn't too many people Diesel go place at it, but it was like Diesel gave props to Joe Stonestreet and Spanky from Men of Vision. Wow. Anybody else, Diesel would like to say they all right, but but it was 2 other singers that he'll give props. He'll put on the level with him, and it was Stonestreet and Spanky.
Yeah, I mean, when I listened to that first "Baby Be Mine" and his the way he pronounces some of the words, and I thought, wow, this is something really different.
Joe put that Slide the Family Stone vibe on it. Now he was like real raw and natural, and Joe vocally. I remember when SWV came down to do the remixes. They everybody claim the other guy did. So Lily came down. Yeah, y'all. Can't nobody touch Casey Haley. So we sit up there just listening to her. And you know, Teddy was shaking his head. He looked at me. I was shaking my head. Teddy said, "Okay, listen to this." And he threw on. They did the theme song for Soul Train. And man, I've been looking for that song for the longest. And when Joe went on that song, when the song went out, Lily was like this. Like, who is that? He was like, nah. He's like, KC dope, but this Joe Stone Street.
Yeah, I mean, Spanky was okay. I mean, my only issue with Spanky was that he sang everything, he did everything, and I thought he didn't
What?
share the load.
George and a few other members, he, they come in on the song. Spanky would take it home. If Spanky not leading the song, then he would be on the chorus and the vamp. But you know, George and you know, a few other ones had good voices too. But yeah, Spanky he just had that outstanding voice that he was a beast. He still is a beast. Spanky's a beast.
But with Joe Stone Street, is it true that they had to re-record the entire Blackstreet album when Dave Hollister joined? So took off all
every song that Joe vocal was on, they redid it. It was a ballad too. It was real cold. The one Joe was on, I can't remember which one, but you know, but before Joe come in the studio, he would swim laps underwater in the pool at the YMCA. Wow. And you know, without coming, he'll do like 2 or 3 laps underwater, then come up, do that by 4 sets, then come in the studio and sing.
Wow.
Yeah. He just just had one problem. He couldn't, he liked to smoke, he liked to drink, and Teddy wanted the studio. He didn't want nobody around him smoking or drinking. So,
I mean, Levi did say that Joe's the delivery of what Joe did was just amazing. I mean, not taking anything away from Dave Hollister, but there was something that Joe brought to the table that was so much different that it was hard to replicate.
And that's who the group was named after. You might have heard another story. It was named after Black, but the group was named after Street, Joe Stone Street.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. But yeah, I mean that. As I said, that's just it's just a pity with him, and but you know what? I mean, as fans would ask about 911. But even if you can't get 911, would you? I mean, would you not do a Mucho presents featured album? We just get singers to put their vocals on it.
I may have to. But I really want to come overseas to perform. So I'm if the 911 album don't happen before the fall is over, then I try to do something like that. But yeah, like R. Kelly's already did his part. I even got Another Butter on his part. I just got to get Markel tied down and hopefully Timmy Gatlin a reply. Time instead of wait.
I would be honest, because Timmy, depends on when you got in touch with him. He wasn't well for a while, and then he's always his work. What about Tammy
Lucas?
Yeah,
I didn't think about that one, but I need to reach out to Tammy. Tammy was the first person we worked with in New York. Gene called us to the studio, and that's the first person he introduced us to was Tammy Lucas. You're like, yeah, man, I want y'all to get with her. She's dope writer. We were like, yeah, we straight from Columbus, Georgia. We were like, hell yeah. So I've been overlooking Tammy, man. I need to get, Tammy need her props too, and I forgot about that. So but I'm gonna try to reach out to Tammy.
Yeah, please do, because we were talking about some of our favorite singers last night, and Tammy was in all our groups.
And I was wondering when he was gonna give her props, because Tammy was all over a lot of projects, like from '88 all the way up, until Teddy, pretty much. I think Pharrell and the Neptunes took her from Teddy. They got tired of seeing her doing all that work, you know. So yeah, she Teddy. I think Tammy been with Teddy the longest. She with Teddy
Well,
the longest.
yeah. I didn't. Could I ask Timmy? I said, "Who sang Goodbye? Who was a female on Goodbye Love?" And he said, "Yeah, that was Tammy Lucas.
Tammy Lucas.
Tammy Lucas
Yeah,
just
she was
singing in
with
the
him the longest.
background." Yeah.
Hmm.
Um, Phil's accent. Do you have any recordings of Joe Stone Street on any of the Blackstreet albums?
Man, I want that Soul Train. They did, you know, Teddy had got so large that Duncan Needs asked him to do the next Soul Train thing, man. I wish I had access to that, but I think all the, you know, Teddy had the masters in storage, and I think somebody bought all those masters, but hopefully they'll, you know, mix it and leak it out. Somebody got to hope to a gem they don't know they got.
I mean, here's an artist that seems to have been well forgotten from what she was signed to Warner Brothers, Drea.
Drea.
Do you remember? Tell me about Drea.
Drea.
We don't know anything about her really.
The Drea that came through Spar Riding through Kenny Smooth.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh yeah, man. She like I think she was like 13 or 14 when she came to the studio. Yeah. She had that Faith Evans tone. So yeah, and I got that album, so that's on my playlist too. I still listen to Drea.
I need to play that again. But
Oh yeah.
Just
and I was up in New York working with Kenny Smooth when I worked on the Case and the Drea project.
So that's that connection then. I
That was through Kenny Smooth, yeah.
I mean, I was trying to ask you before, is there anything that you worked on that's unreleased that we still don't know about that you can think of off the top of your head?
It'd be songs that people email me and say, you know, do you remember this? And when I hear it, I'm like, whoa, I forgot I did it. Man, I was just in love with music, man. So anything he put in front of me, I would do. It wasn't about the money. Even I wanted to get paid to pay my bills, but I was in love with it for the music.
I remember.
Yeah, Shannon is actually at BMI. Shannon's a big name at BMI.
Did you do the song "Must Be Love" a remix?
Me and Shannon. That was actually one of Shannon's songs on his album. So when he wanted to put it on 911, me and him did the beat the music over. Yeah, he would call me and say he'll send me a song and say "Wang Out," man, like WANG. so when I called him, I said "Wang Out." I talked to Shannon about a month ago. He's at BMI.
Okay.
I do recall. You've probably forgotten about this. I haven't forgotten about it, actually. There was a story you told me about Basic Black during the Motown days, and they were recording a second album. What happened there? You said some things got stolen or lost, or there was tracks that were made and.
Well, Gene said, you know, one day he just came to us and said, all right, man, you know, Motown ready for us to go in and do the second album. And we were like, what about the money from the first one? so he said, so right then, it happened this fast. He was like, he's like, all right, man, yeah, we getting ready to go in. Motown want the second album. And I was like, what about the money from the first one? He was like, well, Motown don't want you in the group anyway, so we gonna do it. And they was like, no, we ain't doing it without Mucho. So, you know, and then, you know, Jay got mad. Then like, okay, well, everybody back in it, but you know, we got to go in and do the album. And everybody was like, yeah, but what's up with the royalties and publishing from the first album? And you're like, you know, don't worry about that, man. You know, I'm gonna get that to you.
I mean, you know, as fans, it was like we were all waiting for the second Basic Black because, you know, the first one was, you know, it wasn't a massive success, but it was successful enough to make another album at the time.
Yeah,
and it just didn't happen, and obviously we had to wait such a long time before we heard anything from them.
Yeah, so. He got the budget for the second one, but you know, we wasn't on the shopping list. So, you know, we thought he was gonna say, okay, you know, I'll give y'all. You know, he could have gave us $30,000 a piece. You know, we would have did the album. you know, recoupable. He could have got it back from the royalty from the album, but he didn't want to give us nothing. You know, I was getting paid. It was kind of like the Suge Knight, Tupac. Like I was getting stuff, but stuff wasn't in my name. So, but the second album, and I don't think the fellas really appreciate me to this day. But I could have stayed doing what I was doing, but I went to bat for them. I'm like, nah. I said, nah, we got to get some. So I said, what about the money from the first album?
That first album was that strong, though. Would the second album have been better at the time? I mean, could you top? It's very hard to top that album.
Yeah, I think if we would have released a Special Kind of Fool as like the third single, I think that would have put us over the top to the second album. Cause like Special Kind of Fool was doing what it was doing without airplay, nothing. That was just like word of mouth. I could get word back. Yo, Michael Bivins said that's one of his favorite joints, and to this day, Kevin Durant had it on his social media page. Said, y'all young boys don't know nothing about this. He said, my mom used to play this around the house every day, and he threw on Special Kind of Fool. Snoop Dogg still plays Special Kind of Fool.
Yeah.
So yeah, but we think if we would have did that as the third single while we was working on the second album, I think we would have became like a household name.
I mean, I interviewed T.C. Tompkins. Remember him?
Yeah.
And he just said, yeah, that even Gene tried to cheat him out of working there, but he says, GR Productions probably brought in over 30 million, and Gene just, if he had just decided to share the stuff equally, it would have been such a big label. But he just kept, and I don't know, he just said he just kept everything.
He had everything. He had not, with Guy and all the rest on Rex and Effect. He had Redhead Kingpin. He had Today. He had Zan album getting ready to drop. He had the three girls.
Abstract.
Deja.
Oh, Deja, Abstract. Okay.
Yeah, Abstract. I think there was Deja at first, but then it was another name. But he named them Abstract. So he had them. I mean, GR had a roster, and then Gene said something to me like in the later days. He said when Teddy left, he said, well, it wasn't GNR. It was GR production. It wasn't Griffin and Riley. It was GR. So he
was saying it was his. It was GR.
It was Griffin. Yeah. So he said it wasn't GNR. It's GR. I was like, wow.
Well, he ran it like it was, and actually, Timmy said that when he saw GR, he thought it was Gatlin Riley. Because he saw the business card drop from Teddy's trousers, and he saw GR production with Teddy, and he said, "Oh, we're going to start a Gatlin Riley production," and then Teddy said, "No." So he says when he went behind his back to form it, and that's when he knew that something was up, and he said he wasn't going to sign the contract.
Yeah.
God goodness.
He was slick.
Yeah, but did he have money before he died? I mean, the last time you saw him, or did he just lose everything?
The last time I saw him, he had money, and then, I'm quite sure Gene. I doubt Gene even told his wife what all his money was. That's the type of person he was.
Wow.
He trusts you, but he don't trust you. He trusts you to a certain extent. So. I mean, when I used to drive, we used to go somewhere, just me and him, man. He taught me a lot of tricks that this ain't got nothing to do with the store. But I remember the first time I was driving, man, we come to a red light. So the car in front of me, I stopped about 4 feet from it. He like, man, don't ever do that. I was like, why? He said, cause you can't get out. You can't. So he always was looking over his shoulder, people after him. He said, I always stop car length away, so if somebody at you, you can go to the left or go to the right. I think that was the last time I drove him around. I don't want nobody shooting at me.
Oh goodness! Do you think we can get Big Bub? Is it on the show to tell his
Man,
story?
I talk to that fool every day, almost every day, man. The only reason I ain't talked to him recently because my iPhone broke. So AT&T want me to get that 15. I ain't ready for the iPhone 15. I got I got one more payment, and I'm gonna try to go somewhere else. So,
Yeah,
but
I mean,
I can try to work that out for you. I put you in contact with Big Bub, and they was working. Today was working the last time I talked to him. The
okay,
whole
they're
group.
trying to do a comeback. Okay,
Yeah.
a question everyone's asking is where's Redhead?
Redhead Kingpin, David Guppy. That's it. Yeah, he I I I would have to ask Bub. I think Bub can track him down. I'll ask Big Bub the next time I talk to him.
You know,
Yeah,
with the whole
That
50 years of hip
was
hop,
another talented cat.
exactly, with the whole 50 years of hip hop, his story needs to be heard, I think.
Yeah, yeah,
yeah, because hey, he was a good producer, right? He was also
yeah.
a
Oh
producer.
yeah, yeah. We were supposed to hook up, man. We had a lot of plans up there in New York. Then we came home from we came home for the holidays, and Gene told her to stay down here because he was moving the company down here, and we thought everybody was coming.
Wow, wow. Markel, because we do see him listed as a producer. Um, was he a different type of producer to his brother, or what type of producer was Markel?
Markel was more of a, fly this in there, not hands on, but influential. Like he had the ear for it, so
Okay.
he would remind Teddy of certain break beats and you remember that joint with the bells in it. He would sit around Teddy do that, then Teddy be like, yeah, yeah, and next thing you know, Teddy go dig up that loop and fly it in. But kind of like I never been in the studio with Puffy, but I assume Puffy like an influence instead of a hands-on producer.
Mm.
Like an orchestrator, like they put
Yeah,
stuff
yeah,
together.
yeah.
Yeah. So, but Markel would throw the ideas and sounds at you, and then yes, Markel had good ideas too. But for his
Okay.
hands-on, he wasn't too much of a hands-on guy.
Yeah, yeah. Who's been the best engineer that you've worked with during your
Ooh.
new your, your
You want to get me beat up, don't you?
no, okay, who's been your favorite? I mean, there's been so many good ones.
You'll
Okay,
get even more for that one.
Top five, and then you can put them in order.
Top 5.
Yeah,
You remember Dave Way?
Yeah.
yeah. Kissing Game and Do Me Right, and yeah,
Serbian Genia. I think that's how you pronounce it.
Serban. Okay, yeah, Serban did the
Junior. What's Junior real name? He was on
George Mayers Jr. Yeah,
yeah, George Mayer's Serbian John. I forgot John last name.
John Marie Herbert.
Yeah. No, not John Marie. John Marie was yeah, I thought I named John Marie, but it was another guy. Teddy had a redhead engineer named John, and I forgot his last name. So those
Ah,
about the pretty those about I named 5, right? Dave Wade, Junior,
Serban, John
Durbin,
Marie, and then you
John
said
Marie.
John. Is
Oh,
it
that was
John Mayers?
Keston Wright. My bad, Keston Wright. Keston, I think that was Keston last name. I forgot about Keston. Keston was I think he was the first engineer I met when I went to Virginia Beach.
Okay. Were they
Keston
all
was like,
different though?
huh?
Well, it's strange. Was his engineers apart from Junior? Were the rest all white?
John and Serb
And
too white. Only
Dave
two white.
Way.
Dave Wade, yeah, Dave Wade. He was, but he didn't. I don't think Dave Wade didn't come to Virginia Beach. Worked with
Okay.
Dave in New York, and but Serban and George and John. Serban and John was the 2 white engineers he had.
Okay.
And then there was Keston. Sermon and John was after Keston. When I got down there, it was Keston and John Marie, and he had a Jamaican engineer. I forget his. Dang, I forget his name. He gonna kill me. He gonna kill me when he see me too. Talked to him a while ago, but yeah, it was Keston and John Marie there when I got there. Okay. And a lot of people don't talk about Keston Wright, but he was responsible for that. I don't know if Teddy gave him credit for that first Blackstreet album. His name should be on it.
No, I maybe so. I mean, on our first, I mean, I think there's a George Myers.
He's talking about
that's Junior.
Franklin Grant.
Franklin Grant, that's who it was.
Oh, yeah. Frank, come on, he make up.
Kill me. Franklin gonna kill me, man, because I talked to him not too long ago. But Franklin, Keston, I think Keston was for Franklin. And you got to look up Keston. I think Wright was his last name, Wright. And,
yeah.
And did you Google it?
Yeah, the engineers were John Hayes, Serban, George Myers,
and he probably got mad at Keston. I think Donna didn't do the credits right.
Who was the hardest artist to work with? Or the most difficult artist to work with? Was there any diva tantrums or egos to deal with?
Yeah. I rather not answer that question.
I don't blame you.
I plead the fifth on that one, but it was part of the inner circle. It wasn't from an outside artist. It was part of that inner circle. But I plead the fifth on that one.
Because you always hear about artists who'll say, "Oh, this producer was so difficult to work with," and I'm thinking, well, was it because the way you were, with the producer?
Yeah.
If you get a new artist in the studio that you've not worked with before, how do you go about? Do you just play them a bunch of beats that you might have done? What's the process of working with them for you to get to make a track?
I pretty much ask them, who they would put themselves in, in the field with, if it's a female, I would ask them, would you want to be like a Monica, or Brandy, or 7th Street, somebody like that, and then that pretty much they'll go from there. Well, I'm in between a 7th Streeter and Monica, and I like beats like this. I like, okay, so we pretty much have a meeting first. Then from that meeting I put together a few tracks and email it to them. And they're like, okay, I like that. That's let's go with that one. And they start writing to it.
That's pretty much standard, that really, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't try to steer nobody in my direction. I just find out what direction they want to go to, and I kind of cater to their direction.
But do you write as well as produce, or what do you write the lyrics, or are you mainly the production?
Okay, I'm gonna tell you this story. Let me tell you this story, right? So, and you remember the time I told you Teddy called us, said Interscope want one more one more up tempo. Okay, when we get back in the studio, he called us in B. He called us in B room. He said, "Man, we got this record that they want on the Nothing to Lose soundtrack, but can't nobody write to it." Then my manager said, "Let Mucho hear it." So I listened to it. And I said, okay, cool, I got it. So went in the studio in B room. I think we wrote in a magazine. Diesel pitched it with me, and we wrote in a magazine in probably about 30 minutes. And and we cut it.
Wow.
But with me, I like saving time. So if I produce a track, I'd rather somebody else to write it, because it'll come out different from the idea I had, or I might do a track and put a hook on it and let somebody else write the verses. Or then I may just write to somebody else's track.
And the reason I'm asking is because Stevie and I are trying to really push new R&B artists that are out there. and we wondered if you were to produce a track, and then the competition would be for a number, maybe we get about different 5 or 6 different artists to write and to the track, and then you get to judge. With their competition, we get people to vote on who wins, who's the favorite person to do the track. And I don't know what your thoughts are on doing something like that.
I would love to do that.
Yeah, I mean, Stevie, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, it'd be interesting to hear like younger artists, getting the opportunities to work with more experienced R&B producers.
Yeah, I mean that's something that we want to be. I think about. We've interviewed a number of young female.
They're all saying they want to bring the real sound of R&B back. Well, they need to work with people who understand what the real sound of R&B is.
Yeah,
they haven't got. They don't know people who've got that connection that can link them up with.
I would love to do that.
So.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to think about it, how to put it together. But I definitely would want to put a competition out. And
otherwise, it's going to be all we're going to hear is this boring, depressing trap beat, trickly
no
trap sound that gone on for over a decade that I'm sick to death of hearing now. Even Eddie F's making Afro beats now.
Oh wow!
That says it all.
Wow,
that says it all to me.
I told somebody
You used to look to America for the latest R&B sound. You can't look to America anymore because it's just been destroyed by trap.
Who that? Teddy?
No, trap music.
Oh yeah. I think I could do New Jack better than the guy that created it. I mean, that's a contest. Now I can, but back in the day I couldn't touch him. But I came close to him back in the day. But I think I can. I think I can beat him now in the New Jack Swing Beat contest.
No, but I mean, if you think so, as I said, we've got a number of R&B artists that we've spoken to, and we've pitched the idea. It could be you could have the name of the track, and then we'll just give it to these people to record their vocals on it, and then we're just going to do just get the community.
I mean, what we need is the beat. We'd need say. Because all these beats now are about 2:30 long, 2:40 for streaming. If you've got some beat that's just that you're not too bothered about going out there and letting people hear, let them hear the beat. We could give it a song title and challenge them just to say, look, here's the beat, here's the title, write a song, and you'll have your song produced by Walter Mucho Scott.
So is it do you want a New Jack or what? What genre you want?
I'll be honest, it'd have to be. It couldn't sound like something from 1990. If these artists to say between 18 and 25.
So you want it up to date?
I would say so, yeah, but not trap.
Okay, yeah, and up tempo.
I would just say real R&B. You must have something that you've done recently that's just sat there. It's got a real R&B sound, but could work today in today's R&B. Like a Harry Lennox, a Summer Walker, that kind of
those type of artists.
Okay, so up to date artists, but no trap.
No.
Real R&B sounding, but
hey, I'm in Atlanta, so I can do trap too now.
No, we're not looking for trap, please. There's too much of that, and it's spoiling it. But no, which I mean, as I said, it would be, I would definitely want to.
And it get you out there more on social media, because
you want up tempo, mid, a ballad.
I'd say between ballad and mid tempo.
Ballad and mid,
because that's what they're all making at the moment.
Yeah.
Okay.
They seem to have an issue at the moment, these newer artists, with up tempos. They just don't seem to want to do them.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I'll do. It'll definitely be and it will definitely be a good competition that I'll definitely try and get as many of them to perform it, and then we'll be able to get the community to, to appreciate it. I mean, everyone's going to be a winner, but it'd be good just to be able to, to get just to see what happens with it.
Yeah, that sounds good. I get y'all. What's the deadline? I can't just send you one idea and just here, take that. I'm gonna give you a few to choose from. So
okay. If you send
give
three,
give me a deadline.
Yeah, no, I would say that. I mean, is 7 days too long?
That's too long.
Okay,
what? You've got to give the guy a few months at least.
Mucho doesn't need a few months. Mucho's been producing. He's got catalogs of stuff.
Yeah, give me at least 3 weeks to a month at least.
Okay, so if we look at the first week of September, because I know that I'm back from that
sounds good. First week of September.
First week of September. Okay, I thought you wanted like a few days. Okay, first week of September, so I can run it in the fall, and so then once we get it, then I'll start to hype it up, and so it'll be great just to be able to celebrate. Yeah, that's the stuff that we definitely need.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now let me ask you now, if we finish that New Jack Swing project, 911 project, how will it be accepted if it's good enough material?
Well, listen, it's going to be tough, right? The options you've got in terms of releasing it, I'm sure the Japanese market would want to put it out.
They would.
I think someone in Japan would. I don't know who, but they would probably want to put it out. And then it'd have to go on streaming services. You could do what Mr. Dalvin's done and put it on Bandcamp, where you'd receive a lot of the money then directly to yourself.
Okay. Now I just want to know what wherever y'all at right now, what do we still got any New Jack fans over there?
Of course, of course we have. But we're swimming in a small pond now.
I got you.
We are swimming in a small pond.
Yeah.
Fortunately.
Yeah. I mean,
the hardest thing at the moment is not getting the music. It's actually promoting it.
Yeah.
But we have got social media, and you've got to utilize social media. You've got to be posting content every day, nearly.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I always say with artists, it's like, when you're making an album, so if like what Dalvin has done is like, if you're a true fan, you go on, you buy it, and you support him directly, and you buy the merchandise. If you put it out on streaming services, if it's really, you can spend a lot of money in pushing it and promoting it, or you could be lucky and it can go viral. But the question is, what are you trying to do with the music? Is it to try and make money from it, which I'm sure everyone does. And that's where I probably think Bandcamp and let people just go on the
streaming service. You're not going to make any money from it.
I
would say the best idea is to try and get a deal in Japan where they put some physical copies out and put it on Bandcamp.
Oh, okay.
Where well over 50% of the money will go direct to yourself.
Okay. Well, how about an old school concert like a Today? Basic Black.
It'd be very difficult because he's trying to find a promoter who would spend all that money to fly you over.
Okay.
And at the moment, the way the economy is,
trap rule over there too.
With the kids, it does.
Yeah, okay. but they've got labels that are behind them. But they don't. I mean, you're not necessarily seeing those hip hop artists. I mean, the ones who come over, Cardi B, not Cardi B. What's her name? Megan, Lizzo. Those are because they've got money behind the big labels pushing them, and so.
You heard the song she sampled from the Basic Black album?
No, which I don't know.
Who, Cardi B?
No, Megan Thee Stallion.
What, Megan has sampled Basic Black? I'll have to check that out.
Listen to a song called Flip Flop. You can't miss it.
I'll check it out.
Yeah, I know Spec was saying something about it that okay, so she sampled, yeah. So I mean, those are the ones who. So that Black artists, those are the ones that are being pushed on the radio, so still love hip hop type of stuff. Beyonce naturally, so you can see that it's a different, and you know, if the women who are making it are like SZA, Annie Lennox, Money Love, it's it's a small pool of people doing the same thing that are still making it. And then with the concerts, it's you know, just like anywhere else, we don't have, you know, I would have thought locally you guys could have done could have done shows, you know, Basic Black today, trying to do some stuff.
Yeah, they want. I think if Diesel would have been here, I think if, you know, people crazy about that special kind of fool voice. So you know, if Diesel over here, I think we could have pulled that off.
Yeah, I think it's yeah. I mean, generally, if and because you know, Basic Black sort of did the one album and didn't really tour off that, and then you've got 911, which unfortunately
you'd be starting as a brand new group, because who's heard really, apart from
the
core 90s, who's heard of 911?
Yeah,
you know, you'd be starting as a brand new group.
Yeah. So it's yeah. So but you know, I mean, the first thing you probably could, you know, as I said, you just need your singers to be prepared. But you could re-release the Pressure album, but yeah, it's hard because you still had stuff with Diesel's vocals, aren't you?
Yeah, we got Rob actually sound like Diesel now, so maybe we'll cut some new stuff. See how, you know, people accept that. But Rob is like his voice is almost a spitting image of Diesel now.
But the thing about Rob is the fact that he is extremely busy. If Justin Timberlake comes out, that he's just going to be up here and there. And when Rihanna gives birth and goes back on tour,
Australia, I'll be back.
Yeah. So I think that's really a tough one. So finding,
I personally think, Mucho, you're a producer. In, you know, your skill is production. You should be, you know, you've got all these young beat makers out at the moment. You should be making beats, and, you know, appealing to all these younger artists to come and get your beats, because you've got the experience. You could put 2.5 minute tracks, R&B tracks, you could do them in you know, you could knock them out. You could teach all these younger producers a thing or two. I'm sure you could.
Yeah.
You know, I still think that's probably how you'd make your money.
But then over here, though, what is popular here are DJs who get people to feature. That's big in Europe. So it's like a DJ who's very much like a producer, then features. David Guetta's a big one, or people like Calvin Harris, Mark Ronson. They constantly get artists to sing on their track.
Yeah.
So and of course it's your sort of house poppy kind of stuff, but that's how producers over here are.
I'm not sure, like, if let's say Mucho did a beat now, right? And instead of putting 911 out, which nobody's heard of, you know, let's be real here, and he put a beat out, and there's an Afrobeat singer on it, there's a Latin guy singing on it, and there's a trap rapper on it, I'd probably hate it. But that stands more of a chance of blowing up right now.
Yeah.
And your sound had a fusion of R&B, and it had a dancehall, Afrobeaty vibe to it. That's what's, you know, that is looking like you know, what's going to happen over the next few years is that sound.
Yeah.
If you could knock something up like that, you know, that would, you're covering three genres there. You're covering R&B, you're covering Afrobeats, and you're covering, what's that Latin sound? What's it called? That beat, that chicka 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 boom chicka chicka. Forgot what it's called now. Reggaeton beat. That's it.
Yeah.
You've got a fusion of all them going on, and you've got like 3 different artists on. You're covering all bases.
I mean, look at Burna Boy does Top of the World, so he's getting Afrobeat.
Relevant as a producer.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
I'm looking at, you know, what Eddie F, we know where Eddie F's come from. He's making Afro beats. He's looked at the market and thought, I need to get on this now.
Is he good at it?
Well, I've only heard one Afro beat track, but I think it's a really good track.
Yeah.
It is a very, very good track. I'll say to it.
Yeah, it's but I think there's still a market for
R&B.
For R&B. But it has it has to be different. It has to be crisp. But it's also we need to get the right type of singers on it, doing something different.
Yeah,
I remember Summer Walker put a tweet out. This was 6 months ago. I need a beat. Producers, I need a beat. And it was like all these producers responded. I think there was an email address. You could have just sent her some track that had been lying on your desk.
See, I need to be on social media more.
She probably needed some real R&B at that point.
Yeah. But but I'm thinking about some of the artists that I've interviewed. That so some of the '90s artists I've interviewed, doing a duet with some of the new R&B artists who are new, and then getting so if you're producing a track with, let's just say, Brian Abrams from Color Me Bad, featuring this new singer who's about 18, who has the lyrics of today's audience, featuring with Brian, who from Color Me Bad, and then you're producing a track, and you can start to see the kind of buzz that can do. So that's the kind of stuff I'm thinking about. Like, well, how can we just get these people together to try and do something different? Because what we're doing right now isn't working. So let's try and create and do some gumbo around. You produce, get an old school artist to sing with a new school artist, a duet. For R&B, this group, what's the name of the girls groups from England? Flow. Yeah, Flow. No, I think they're called Flow. So they're a new group, but they're signed to. They're signed to Universal, so they're being blowing up, but they're not. And the music isn't. They had a track with Missy Elliott. They just had a new track out with Missy Elliott, but the labels are putting money behind it. But they're a girl group, which we haven't seen in a long time. So that's why I said, if come September when you get the 3 beats, then we'll start looking. We'll do one for competition. Then we'll do one to then look for some of the old school artists to do a combo with some new school artists, and then just see what we can try and generate some buzz around it. So
I know what's going to happen straight away. If I post Mucho's beat on my IG, right, I'm going to get about 50 DMs from a bunch of upcoming Nigerian artists going to say, Stevie, I want that beat. I want that. They'll just do something on the beat,
like an Afro beat.
Yeah, they'll put the vocal on it.
Yeah,
you'll have a bunch of like Nigerian artists, all because them guys are so hungry. You wouldn't believe it. Yeah. They're hungry
for success, not like food hungry.
I know what you mean.
Yeah, well, I'm Nigerian, so I'm like, I want to clarify that Nigeria is a very popular, rich country, but they were hardworking.
How far? Yeah. How far are you from Lagos?
Yes, that's where that's where we lived. So Lagos is where we lived, but
wow,
man,
that's one of the places I want to go.
It's
chaos in Lagos.
It's a busy. It's. I think if you were surprised when you went to New York, I think you'd almost think that Lagos is probably it's a tough place, but it's as Stevie says, getting some Afrobeat artists to feature on one of your production, doing a competition, that's one element. Doing some R&B people, so there's so much we can do. So if you get the 3 beats,
it brings Mucho. He's right back in the mix then.
Yeah. So that's the stuff that we can. So as I said, the 911, it's. I know, Rob, I know how busy he is and stuff. And so, but if you got the music, it's like, we're trying to get
911, you got to do that for the love of it. It's going to be so difficult.
Yeah.
You're literally doing that for the fans of 90s.
Oh, yeah.
R&B and New Jack.
Yeah.
Literally for the love.
But I think we can do something big this fall when it comes to competitions and stuff like that. Trying to get So I'll start looking in my book of some of my former guests and try and see, okay, who we can get on a remix of a remix. So that's what they do, one track, different remixes, and everyone jumps on it and creates some buzz. So
Nnamdi's going to be the new Gene Griffin.
I'm Clarence Avon.
I may get that to you before September, though.
Yeah, I mean, as I said, we'll start looking. I mean, as I said, Stevie's got the Afrobeat connection. We've been talking to a lot of our new R&B acts and getting them on board with it, and then some of the old school acts that I've been interviewing, trying to get them on board with stuff to just to forget money for the first thing, but think about just getting something out there and blowing up, and let's just try and make something happen.
Like say, out of all this, something's going to happen.
Yeah, I'm pretty much. I'm not in it for the money. Pretty much, it's like just for the love of it. So like I work a 9 to 5 to get the money, but I'm doing music for the love of it. The 9 to 5 pay the bills. So,
yeah. I would love it to blow up and make money, but I'm thinking that if we focus on the love of it and just try and have fun with it, and that makes it easy for everyone, because it just makes it easy for everyone just to say, let's just see what happens with that and just keep going and just having fun with it and generate. And I'm sure I guarantee people will jump on it and try and copy it. So that's yes. So, but anyway, so if to really think about it, if you could, if you do have a new jack, you can do. I mean, if you're doing 3 different tracks, then you can see what you can come up with, and then we'll see we'll see what we can do with it and stuff.
I throw the new jack on the back burner. I do some up-to-date stuff. Yeah. So that will definitely be a really as I said, with these new artists, they'll be on anything. They'll jump on anything and try and really try and get their name out there. So it'll be an interesting stuff. Okay.
But Richard, we've kept you. I know Stevie seems to have recovered from his man flu. He said it's midnight over here in the UK.
Oh, is it?
It's midnight. Yeah, it was. I could tell. Yeah, it's midnight. So we've already moved into the new day.
So what's the closest airport to y'all?
Ooh. Well, so he's so think about. I think the distance between myself. I'm about almost 300 miles away from where Stevie's at. So for me, Heathrow or Gatwick is the closest to me.
Okay, so London Heathrow.
Yeah,
I will have to fly to LHR.
Yeah, that's London Heathrow. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's and so normally now when anyone comes into town to perform, I'll probably say let's meet up. If we either meet up in London. I may not go to the show, but I'll meet up with them, catch up with them, and at the airport or in town before they go to their show. There's just we're probably slowly trying to work on getting them just pushing music and try to celebrate music. So it'll be interesting to see.
Well, the reason why I was asking because I fly free. So
okay,
I wouldn't mind popping up on one of y'all.
You need to go to London then. You do need to go to London. Fly to
London. It's another what is it? London Heathrow and
there's Gatwick as well.
And Nnamdi, meet up with him and show him Buckingham Palace, Trafalgar Square. Go and show him around.
Yeah, I mean, whenever you fly out, if you do fly out, if you've never been out to the UK,
then where's Charles de Gaulle? That's Paris, right?
That's Paris. Yeah, that's France. Yeah.
Delta fly there. I work at Delta, so
okay. Yeah,
I just hop on the plane. I could get out of work and hop on a plane and just
okay, yeah. I know Delta flies to Lagos, but I would wait to plan a flight to Lagos for that.
Lagos guys, is it bad?
It's not bad, but it's. You said when you got into New York, you watched people being mugged as you were walking.
Around the bush, you don't want to tell me. So
no, Lagos.
Got some hoods in it.
Lagos is it's. it's a tough place, you know. And if you just show up as a tourist, you ain't going back, you know.
All right, I'm going to see Stevie. Never mind.
If he stays on the island,
I just pop up on you, Stevie. Forget the Lagos trip.
No, but I don't live in Lagos.
Stay on the island in Lagos. Fine.
I'm in London. I'm outside of London.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm outside of London. No, but Lagos is where my family. That's where we've got our family home. But I don't know. I don't live. Yeah, no, I'm outside of London.
Yeah, because I worked at Lagos Flight a lot, so I see a lot of people going over there. So.
Yeah. No, I mean, yeah. I mean, that's yeah. And Nigerians are tough, man. There's over 200 million of us. We're tough people. We're over 200 million people. So I always say 1 in 4 Black people on earth is Nigerian. So that we're a tough bunch. But yeah. But anyway, if we get our music done, especially if Stevie gets his Afrobeat connections on your track, you know what? When the things blow up, they just say, "Let's bring you over," and that's why it's going to be Mucho Scott featuring the artist, so that your name is on there. So as it blows up, your name's on there. So that's the thing that we're going to do. It's like the Quincy Jones.
I'm jumping on that Afrobeat tonight.
Yeah, please do. So then you just do 3 different things. Stevie's got the Afrobeat connection. We've got the R&B. We've got the old school and new school.
Okay.
But think about it. It would be, you know, if Walter Mucho Scott featuring, and that would be the you know, and at the name of the song, and that's definitely how we will sell it. So yeah.
Okay, that sounds good.
Okay. All right. Stevie, it's been great. I know that you did. You put some. What I say, you put some steroids in your coffee to keep you awake.
that energy drink,
the Red Bull or something, to keep them awake. But yeah, we want to thank. It's been 2 hours. We want to thank everyone who's shown love. Phil, thanks. DJ Seuss, thanks for Marquise. 212. Thanks, guys, for staying with us. We want to thank Mucho. His 3rd time connecting, and but definitely when we think about come September, what we're going to be looking to do, man, I definitely want to do something different and new, and I'm really excited about this project. So let's see if we can take music, New Jack, and Afro swing to a new level. So that would be great. But anyway, I've sent you Queen Pin stuff, Mucho. Don't forget to hook up trying to get Tammy Lucas. I'll send you her profile in case you forget her on stuff. It would be great. She's an amazing writer as well. So that would be great as well. Gotcha. But anyway, thanks everyone. And it's just after midnight here. So we... Stevie's probably wondering when I'm going to wrap it up, but I'm wrapping it up right now. So we'll see you guys.